I think that's going to change soon. So what we're going to do today is go through your 2021 business plan. We're going to review 2020 and then go into 2021. So hopefully everybody has the materials that were given to you. The goal is that you have your business plan completely filled out by the time we're finished today. So what I'm going to do is, it's really nice. Thank you for having your cameras on, because I can tell if you're still writing or if you need more time. So if you have any questions, please just stop, unmute your microphone and ask. Here's what I know. If one person has a question, somebody else does. So don't be afraid to do that. I'm happy to answer any questions. So first off, what we're going to do is just go to the first page, and we ask you to just fill your name out, put today's date, and then it says 12-month period. This is for 2021. So January 1st to December 31st, 2021. So if you just fill that out. Alrighty, and the first pages that we're going to go to, and just to warn you, I'm going to bop around here, but the first two pages are going to be 4 and 5, I believe, where it says current business analysis. And on your one page, you have kind of an example of what it's going to look like when it's filled out, and then the other side is for you to actually fill out. Now, in this first one, we are only going to fill out the top little portion and then the previous 12 months. So what we're doing is we're looking at all of your production for a year. Because we aren't doing this until November, what they did is they took a full year of your production, so some of 2019 and all of 2020, so that you would have a full year's look at how many listings you took, your total volume, things like that. Where it says next 12 months, that is not going to be the next 12 months. That is going to be 2021. So January to December. And I'll talk you through that when we get there. So at the top, you will see current business analysis. They did not give you these numbers. Okay. They gave you the ones that we need down below. Hopefully you all know how many listings you have. All right. So the top number is the number of active listings. So if they are under contract, do not put them in there. All right. I only want the ones that are active that have not sold. So write in your number that you have for current active listings. And on the second line, what I want you to do is take the total dollar volume of those listings, add it up, and put that on the second line. Okay, the next line is going to be anything you have that's under contract. So this is either buyer sales or listings that are under contract. How many of those do you have? And then the total dollar volume of that. All right, then the last number up there is the current number of active or pending outgoing referrals. So if you've sent any outgoing referrals and nothing's happened with them yet, or if they're just under contract, just put the number there. We don't need the dollar volume on those. And then what I want you to do is pull out the sheets that your OAs have given you that has all of your production on it from last year or the last 12 months. And remember, when we're finished with this, big shout out to them for getting this all organized for you, because it's a pain to do. And it makes it really easy for you to fill this out. So, on the left side of my screen, you'll see, they had numbered them all the way down the sheet. And all you're going to do is take all those numbers and transfer it over to this page 5. So it literally is going to follow right down that sheet. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. All right, has everybody had a chance to get those all filled in? If you didn't, please unmute and tell me you need another minute or two. So I don't want to keep anybody behind. Everybody good? All right. So what we're going to do next, they had asked you to get all of your business expenses together for this. So I want to go through this sheet. It's on page 21. There's some things that are a little bit confusing. So I want to go through them with you. So everybody get to page 21. So you will notice that each section has a category name. So automobile, obviously the top ones are very self-explanatory, your payment, your fuel costs, things like that. But as you go down, you are going to see continuing education under automobile. That is for if you drove to a continuing education class, the amount of miles that you drove times 59%, because that's what the IRS lets you write off, is what that number would be. So you might just want to write in the miles and then you can figure it out later. But that's why that's there. If you drove to any other conferences or meetings, so if you drove to a Ninja installation, those miles could go under there. All right. So then marketing, pretty self-explanatory. We do have, we do a lot of marketing for you. So there are some other lines for other, if you're doing things outside of what we have on here. Oops, sorry. And then the education. So we didn't have a global networking event this year. If you did the Ninja installation, this would be the cost if you had to stay in a hotel, all that kind of thing, plus your cost of the class. If you went to luxury real estate conference, same thing there. Any other meetings that you went to business related. Then just the other business expenses is where everything else goes in. You will notice the third one down has meals and entertainment, and it has 25% in parentheses. Many people don't realize this, but when you take a client out to dinner, the only thing you are allowed to write off is 25% of the total. So, I always warn people, because it's very easy to spend a lot of money in this business. You might want to think about taking people to coffee or something like that, rather than big expensive dinner with lots of wine. Obviously depending on the client, but you only get a 25% write-off on that. All right. And then, if you have a personal assistant, the fees for that assistant would go in this category. And then once you're finished, you'll see each of those has a bold line that they want you to add all those up. So you're going to take each line and put it down in this summary so you know what your total business expenses were. So this takes a little bit of time, so work on that. And then just look up when you're complete so I can tell when you're finished. You want to make sure you're only doing the last 12 months expenses. Don't pay attention to the right-hand side.
Katie, we have a question in the chat about an expense.
Okay.
If you hold an event in your office, is it can you write that off 100% or only 25%?
Usually, and again, I'm not an accountant, but usually that can be the 100%. But before you do that for sure, I would talk to your accountant about it.
Great, thank you.
But events are different than meals. I would mention one other thing that I don't think people totally understand is you are only allowed $25 for a closing gift as a write-off. What some people do is, and I'll just give you an example of one that I know, is like Cutco knives. They have a thing where if you buy those, as long as you put your information, like the company information engraved on the knife, then it's considered marketing. So there are ways kind of to still do nice gifts. But you need to understand if it's straight out closing gift, it's only a $25 write-off. Everybody good on that? All right, so we will move on. So now I want you to flip over to page 3. If for any reason there were some of those numbers you didn't know, you're not turning those into us. It's more of a guide for you so you know what you're spending. So you could come back and add things if you forgot them or if you didn't get finished. But let's go to page 3.
Katie, before we go to page 3, we have one question.
Yes.
I have also called some of my closing gifts staging. Do we have any thoughts on that?
That would not be right per IRS. So that's all I'm going to say.
All right, thank you. Page 3, everyone.
Yeah. All right, so for those of you who've taken Ninja, you probably remember this. This is really our life list. Every year you should sit down and kind of go through what your goals are going to be for the year, just kind of on a personal and business level. And that's what we're going to take a little bit of time to do. So we break it into 4 categories. And the first one is family. So what kind of things do you want for your family this year? Are there any special things that you want to do for your family? You would want to put those in there. You know, and I'll give you a couple of examples. Like my oldest son, he and his wife are both aerospace engineers. They have big jobs. They have 2 young children. They could not send them to school, so they ended up hiring a teacher to come in 3 days a week to help them out. You know, that would be something for family. You know, maybe you have young kids and with COVID, we want to get a play set in the yard. Maybe when this is over, you want to take them on a trip. I mean, whatever it is for your family, we want to put that there. Then your occupation and your career. What are you looking for in your career? You know, we are going to put a dollar amount goal, another place in here. You may want to put that in there, or this might just be, you know, what kind of things that you want to do to maybe progress your business. And it might be that you really need to learn about something. So you're going to go take, you know, a class on a particular area that you're not really comfortable with. You know, maybe that's 1031 exchanges. You know, you're going to make sure that you get your CRM completely set up. You know, you're going to do just listed, just sold on every single listing, you know, to your entire sphere. Whatever things you want to do to kind of up your game as far as your career goes, let's put that there. Then our next category is recreation and dreams. You know, all work, no play makes them really crabby. So what do you want to do there? You know, there's a lot of people taking road trips right now because they can do that. But what do you want to do for recreations and dreams this year? And then our last category is to be or to give. And this is, you know, what I kind of call this a legacy thing. What kind of a legacy do you want to leave? You know, do you give X amount of money to a church or certain charities? What are those going to be? You know, maybe it's just giving of your time, which right now is very, very important. There's a lot of people really struggling out there, and maybe you're just going to help by volunteering. So whatever those things are in those categories, see if you can get at least 3 or 4 in each of those categories, if you would. So let's take some time to do that. Give you another minute or so to finish that up. All right, so did everybody get a pretty good chance to get something in at least each of those categories? Shake your head. Great. So here's the thing with this list. This is not a list that is a one-time thing, all right? We ask that you look at it every day. For some of you, reading the list is going to be the way you're going to do it. For some of you, you would rather have it be more visual. You can create a vision board, which basically is just taking like a poster board, taking pictures of the things that you have written down and just put that someplace where you see it every day. That's what I do. I have it in my closet. I look at it every single day because I know I'm going to be in my closet every single day. So whatever works for you, but we do want you to review it, because if you don't look at these things again for another year, do you think you have any chance of them happening? No, right? You have to keep it top of mind every single day. Then I want to show you this, this video of something else you really should be doing.
If you expect to achieve your goals, if you expect to reach your potential, if you expect to have your dreams come true, what I'm about to explain to you is mission critical. You must become a master at visualization. For those of you that are like, what the heck is she talking about? I did not sign up for some sort of meditation, woo-woo spiritual thing here. Don't worry, this is Mel Robbins. There's always science and research involved in everything that I talk about. So visualization is a extraordinarily powerful skill. You may have heard of the law of attraction. You may have heard of the word visualization. You may have heard of the word manifesting. I call it seeing signs. Your brain has a system in it. Here's the technical term. It's called the reticular activating system. It is a network of neurons all up in here. And what is the job of the reticular activating system? It is a filter system. It's basically a system that allows certain information in your brain and it blocks out other information. And guess who programmed that filter? You did. And so did the people from your past. And so if you constantly feel like you're unlovable, guess what? Your reticular activating system is going through the day and it is going to point out every single piece of evidence that confirms that negative belief that you have. If you think that people don't like you at work, the reticular activating system, the filter, it is literally going to be looking for evidence to confirm that belief all day long. This is one of the reasons why we have such a problem with politics in this country. This is why there's something called a confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means your mind loves to read things that you agree with, because reading things that you agree with confirms your filter. Why do we have a reticular activating system? There's a really important reason why you have this. The reason why is if your brain let in everything. Have you ever looked at a Facebook page? Have you noticed how many words are on a standard Facebook page, and the ad over here and the ad over here and the ad over here and the ad and the news feed right here and the stuff up here and all this over here? If your brain took in everything and equal value, your head would literally explode off your shoulders. Your brain would melt down. And so the reticular activating system protects your brain by filtering information and only letting in stuff that it agrees with. So that's the scientific reason and mandate for why you got to get busy reprogramming that thing. Now we're going to talk about how you use visualization. in order to start to reprogram the reticular activating system in your brain so that your brain starts to spot opportunity. Your brain starts to spot evidence that things are working out. Your brain starts to spot coincidences so you can build momentum. And it begins with visualization. So as you take your goals, right? So you've written down all these goals, right, for 2019. I want you to go to each one and I want you to do a visualization exercise. And here's how you're going to do it based on science, because there's a particular way you have to do this based on science, okay? It's a two-step method. If your goal is to improve your self-worth, I want you to visualize what your life looks like and how you're going to feel about yourself when your self-worth has improved. There's two things that you have to do when it comes to visualization. You have to close your eyes. Truly, I know it sounds stupid, but I want you to close your eyes and I want you to, in your mind, have a specific picture of what it looks like in your life when your self-worth has improved. You're going to see yourself speaking up at work. You're going to see yourself talking more about your business. You're going to see yourself leaving bad relationships. You're going to see yourself defining boundaries. You're going to see yourself going to the gym. You're going to see yourself taking care of yourself. And when you start to visualize the image of that, I want you to consciously, this is step 2, consciously think of the positive emotions that you're going to feel. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel proud. I'm going to stand taller. I'm going to be so grateful that I made this change. Marrying the specific picture. Oh, there I am. There I am. I'm at work and I'm raising my hand. Amazing. I'm sharing my idea. There I am. I'm getting a promotion. There I am asking for a raise. There I am. I've just signed up another customer to my business. There I am. I've gone back to school. I feel so good about myself. When you do that, here's what's actually happening in your brain. This is the cool science part. You are training your brain to have a totally different filter. You see, your brain, my brain, it doesn't know the difference between something that actually happened to you, like the F you got in your test in 10th grade, and the things you imagine that are happening to you. Let me say that again. Your brain doesn't know the difference between the bad things that actually happened to you, the real memories that you have, and an imagined memory that you're creating. Your brain will experience you visualizing going to the gym, you visualizing how happy you feel when you do, you visualizing asking for that raise and getting it, and how proud you're going to feel. Your brain, when you visualize in the way that I'm teaching you to, it encodes it as a real memory. And that's important because when you encode it as a real memory, it changes the filter system, that reticular activating system. And here's what we know based on research. The more you visualize things, number one, the greater your confidence is going to be, the greater security you're going to have about it. And here's the really cool thing. The more you do this with your goals, you wake up every day and you just visualize, it takes 30 freaking seconds, for crying out loud. You visualize having a great day at school. You visualize curing your panic and how proud you're going to be. What studies suggest and have proven is that simply visualizing yourself doing things actually develops the skill and helps you improve the skills, just as if you were actually doing it. And so there's proof based on research that visualization helps you build skills. And then finally, the other thing that's really important about this is that the more that you do this, what we know based on research is that the reason why you start to believe what you think is because you are reprogramming your brain. You are changing the network of neurons that act as a filter. And so the more that you actually believe in yourself and you start thinking and visualizing yourself speaking up, the more confident you're going to become, the more skills that you're building, and you're actually going to do it. And then instead of looking for all the reasons when you're sitting in a meeting to not speak up, you're going to just speak up because you're going to have changed the filter. You're going to look for opportunities. This is how it works. This is why this is so incredibly important. And so day one, I want you to go through all the goals that you set. And I want you every single day throughout the next 30 days, you are going to spend 30 seconds. Your dreams deserve 30 seconds, don't you think? You're going to close your eyes and you're going to visualize, what does it look like in your life when you have achieved your monetary goals this year? How does it feel to go to the bank and see that balance? How does it feel to be able to write that check and take your kids to Disney World on money that you made? How does it feel to be able to rent your own place or put down a down payment for the house you've always dreamt of? How does it feel to be able to have saved enough money so you can quit the job that you hate and launch the business because you have achieved your goals? It feels darn good. That's how it feels. And I want you to just savor that, because what you're doing when you visualize is you're reprogramming your reticular activating system, that system of neurons, that network that acts like a filter in your brain, so that it's spotting opportunity, so that it is helping you see evidence that you are confident, that you are capable, that you can do this, instead of all the garbage you think right now.
All righty. So let's turn to page 23. Because what we're going to do is we're going to try and fund those goals. All right. So the top of the page says my financial vision. And it's really important what that next line says. It says deciding what you want, not what you think you can have. Because sometimes when you're setting a goal and you really have a goal to do something, you hear that little voice in your head that's like, oh, that's never going to happen. Right. So as you're doing this, I don't want you to fall prey to that voice. What we're going to do is just write what you really want here. All right. So the top line says mine to keep. And, you know, we call that a feel good account. So what's a feel good account? What we want is you to feel safe. All right. We want you to be in a place that it doesn't matter if you get the listing or you don't get the listing, or you choose not to get the listing. You know, sometimes we meet with a seller and we know, man, this is not going to go well. You know, you can just feel it when you're sitting there, but you need the money. So you're going to take it. And what happens is it becomes a miserable experience. It keeps you from getting other business because you're trying to, you know, work with somebody that's almost impossible. So what we call a feel good account is, you know, that you're comfortable, you know, you can pay your bills, you don't have to worry about it. So if you run across that person, you're confident to just say, you know, I don't think we're a match. So whatever that is for you, that, you know you can cover your bills, put that number in there. If you have it, if you are completely financially set, you don't worry about that, then that number is 0. So our next category is recreation. You did put some recreation goals down, hopefully. So what's it going to cost to do those? And this is for, you know, 2021. All right, our next category is personal growth. This is something just for you. This is not for any other member of your family. It is for you. It's personal growth. So what is it that you want to do? And you know, I kind of give examples of maybe you've wanted to learn a foreign language. I mean, that's what I've been doing during COVID. So, you know, maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to learn to play a musical instrument. Maybe you want to go on a yoga retreat. Whatever it is for you that just would be personal growth, put that number down there. Now, our next category is family growth, and that can take on many different pictures here. So let me give you a few examples. So maybe, when we get through COVID, or, now you could go on a road trip, you want to go someplace educational for your family, you could put that there. Maybe you are, with COVID going on, we need to do some different things with the kids. Maybe we need to make a place for them in the house that they can, be able to study on their own. All right. So we've got to do a little bit of remodel, whatever that is. Maybe it is, you've got a kid that is very talented in a certain area, and you need to get them into a certain kind of league that's going to cost X amount of money, or you need to hire a coach for them. That would be that. Now, for some of you, it's a completely different story. Maybe mom and dad, or mom or dad, has to go into an assisted living. All right. And they don't have enough to be able to afford that. Maybe you have to supplement that. It would be anything like that that is for your family. So our next one is business growth. So you wrote some things down that you wanted for your business or your career. So what are those going to cost you this year? Anything that's going to take you from where you are to where you want to be. Maybe you need some different skills. Maybe you need to hire a coach. Maybe you need to, put more money in for, keeping in touch with your sphere more often, whatever that's going to be, put that in business growth. Our next category is debt reduction. Hopefully you all have a goal at some point to be completely debt-free, so that you can retire and be comfortable. So what kind of debt could you reduce this year? We ask that you start with what's non-tax deductible. So you want to start with your credit card debt. If you hold credit card debt, then you can work your way to cars, personal home, investment properties, whatever it is. But how much are you going to pay down in debt this year? Then our next category is a big one. This is annual living expenses. This is, we call it creature comforts, everything you need to run your life. Now, I will make a comment here. If you are in a relationship where you share these expenses with somebody, you only need to put the portion that you're responsible for. All right. But this is your house payment, your cars, taking care of those, haircuts, oil changes, everything that it takes to run your house, utility bills, all that kind of stuff. And if you don't know that number, I preach this every single time, you need to know that number. All right. Even if you're not totally responsible for the big number, you need to know what it is, because life changes and you might be responsible for it. So you really need to know what your living expenses are. And again, only putting in the portion that you're responsible for. If you don't know that number, I tell you to make a stab at it. And then you can go back and really check out what it truly is. All right. So our next category is creature comforts, large purchases. So this could be anything. Maybe we're going to buy a boat. Maybe we're going to remodel the kitchen. Whatever it is that's going to be a large purchase for this year, put that number in. If it's something that's really big that you couldn't possibly save for the entire thing in a year, how much are you going to put towards that? So that perhaps over the next, couple of years, you would have enough to be able to do it. But any large purchase, not your normal day-to-day stuff, goes in here. The next one's fairly easy because you did this already. You went through and added up what your business costs are, right? If you're going to increase your business by 10%, you might want to increase that number by 10%. But what it's going to cost to run your business for the year. All right, our next category is retirement funds. We have this set up, and I think it's the most wonderful thing that Scott does, is that he allows you, when you get a commission check, that you can put part of it into a retirement account so that you never see it. Because if you're like most people, if you've got it, you're going to spend it. So how much are you going to put away in retirement funds this year? Because we got to think about that. You don't want to be doing this when you're 80 years old. Then the next one is to give. So in that bottom category on your goal sheet, we had what we were going to give as far as financial resources to any charities, churches, whatever. So that number would go in there. Then investments, and this can take on, quite a few looks too. So if maybe you put a portion of your income into a stock and bond portfolio or something like that, great. You might be somebody that is looking at this and saying, if I have 5, 6, 10 rental properties that are completely paid off by the time I retire, then my tenants are going to pay for my retirement, which would be wonderful. So if you're doing that, maybe you're saving for the down payment for another investment property this year. So whatever that number is that you can put into investments, put that number down. And then what I'd like you to do is just grab a calculator or your phone and add up all of those numbers. Once you have that number, if you're doing this on a piece of paper, make sure you write that number down. And then I want you to take 25% of that and put it in the taxes line, but write down the total first so you know what it is. Now, the reason we use 25%, some of you are in a higher tax category than that, and probably most of you, by the time you pay, your own unemployment tax and things. So what we're not taking into account here is any write-offs. So we feel like 25% is a good number. I know you guys are in California, your number may be higher. If it is, whatever you think that percentage should be. But then we want to take the total plus the taxes and put it in the receiving goal line. So is everybody caught up on that before we move on? Can you give me a thumbs up if you are? Got a couple people still working for a sec. Thank you. All right, so let's go to page 10 and 11, if you would. So now we're going to see what's possible out there. All right. So at the top of page 11, now page 10 again is just an example for you. So if you're, kind of questioning, it's easy to follow along. So the first question we're going to ask you, and hopefully you know this number, how many households are in your database? So this is not individual people. So a couple would be considered one. How many households do you have in your database? And put that number down. In our example on the left-hand side of the page, it's 200, all right? So then we're going to go down to number 1, and it says past clients. So these, out of that 200 people or whatever your number is, how many of those people have you actually closed a transaction with? So these are past clients that you actually have done a real estate transaction with. And put that number in 1A. All right, now what we want you to do is take 1A and multiply it times 20%. And the reason we're multiplying times 20% is, for those of you who took Ninja, you know that 20% of your data they have found, so that is a good number to use. So what we want you to do is, how many past clients do you have? And then we're going to multiply that number times 20% and put it in 1B. I know somebody left the room. We're on page 10 and 11. We're filling out page 11. All right, so you have that number. So that number is the number of potential transactions that you would have from your past clients for this year. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question, and this is where you just got to be real honest with yourself. How many of those transactions, so these are past clients, you've worked with them, hopefully they liked you, they're going to do another transaction. How likely are you to get that deal? And so what I want is look at that number and say, what percentage of those could I capture? Again, these are past clients. If you are somebody that is very good about staying in touch with your people, and you have, called them on a regular basis, seen them on a regular basis, kind of just listed, just sold, whatever you do with them, your chances are going to be really good, right? Because they liked you, they know you, they're going to use you again. If you are somebody that did not stay in touch with them, and I've heard this song and dance many, many times before, oh, well, God, Katie, I haven't talked to him in 7 years. All right. Your chances might be a little bit less. All right. They might have gotten a relationship with someone else. So be honest with yourself about what that percentage is. And then once you have that percentage in, what I want you to do is multiply B times C and put that number in 1D. All right, everybody got that number? Thumbs up if you got it in there. Got a few stragglers, so. We good, guys? All right, so now we're going to go to 2. All right, and as we go down this sheet, probably your percentages might drop a little, and I'll explain why, but you just be honest about it. So number 2 is your past client referrals. They have done studies, and they know on average that each person knows 4 people that will move this year. All right, so your people know 4 people. What we are going to assume is that each one only knows 1. All right, because these numbers can get really out of control. So we're going to say each one of your clients knows 1 person that's going to move this year. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, that's a potential referral from a client. So we're going to take our number of past clients that we have in 1A. We're going to put that same exact number in 2A. All right, because each past client has a referral. And then again, these are people, they've used you, they like you, they know somebody that is going to do a transaction. Are they the types to say, oh, you need to use Betty, she was wonderful, right? And is Betty going to use you? All right, so what percentage of those do you think you would capture? Just put a percentage amount in 2B. And once you have that, take 2B times 2A and put that in 2C. So that's your number of past client referrals you could expect to do this year. Now we're going to move to 3. And 3 says friends. 3 is really friends and sphere of influence. So these may not be people you're having over for dinner at your house. I mean, it's going to be those, but it's also going to be people that, are in your sphere. Maybe people from the gym that you work out with, maybe people that are in a running group, people that are in a book club, just anybody that is in your sphere of influence. So what we're doing is we're taking our total number of households, the top number you had, and we are subtracting the past clients. So in our example, we had 200 households. We had 50 that were past clients. So the remaining sphere and friends is 150. But whatever that is for you. So you're taking the top number minus 1A, and you put what the answer to that is in 3A. Now, same drill. We are going to multiply that times 20%, because 20% of those people will do a real estate transaction this year. So now we're looking at these and we're saying, okay, these people I've never done a deal with. They know I'm in real estate. They like me. All right. But how likely are they to call you when it's time to do a transaction? I will tell you, most realtors don't keep in touch with their sphere. So if you're somebody that keeps in touch with these people really well, they might choose to use you instead of who they had used before. but just put a number of the people that you, or the percentage that you think you would capture in here. And then we're multiplying 3B times 3C to get the number for 3D. Okay, now we're going to take a step further. So that whole group that we just talked about, they know 4 people that are going to move this year. All right. So we're going to only assume 1. So we're going to still take our friend referrals. All right. So we're going to take our friends, which is our number in 3A, and we're going to put it in 4A. And because we're going to assume all those people know 1 people who are going to have a real estate transaction, what percentage of those would you capture? Now think about this. They know you, they like you, they know you're in real estate, but they've never used you. So what percentage of those would actually refer you? And what's funny, I found is sometimes, you know, people will go back to their realtor, but they like you enough that they'll refer you to a friend. You know, so it's interesting how that plays out sometimes. But whatever that percentage is, so you're going to take 4A times 4B and put that number in 4C. So now we're moving on to 5. Do you remember, anybody that took Ninja, do you remember what we said the number 1 source of referrals should be or is? Most people, when I ask that question, will say past clients. All right. That is not true. And it is not true because of that video that I showed you. It is your active clients. Because when you're in a real estate transaction, you are paying attention to other people who are talking about doing a real estate transaction. So your active clients, it's like their radar's up. All right. So those are our best source of referrals. And, you know, the thing is, you have to have some sort of a talk track, because has it ever happened to you that you're driving a buyer around, you're getting along with them really well, you're doing a great job. And then they're like, oh, my friends just put a contract on that house over there. And you're like, oh my God, how did I not get that? Right. So you want to kind of have some kind of a talk track when you're meeting with people so that you key them up for referrals. And here's what I say to people is I say, you know, I sit down, I go through my whole little buyer interview and I say, I just want you to know, I know you don't do this very often in your life. All right. So there is no stupid question. Right. And I want you to ask any question that you have about real estate. And honestly, not even during this transaction, but for the rest of your life. If you want to know, wow, you know, should I remodel my kitchen? Would that make sense? Call me. If you want to know if it's a good time to refinance, call me. If you have friends, relatives, anybody that has a question, give them my number, tell them to call me. I am here for you and everybody that you know to help them with real estate. All right. So that's not, hey, will you give me a referral? It's just, I am here to provide you service for the rest of your life. All right. It keys them in to think about referrals. All right. But whatever that is for you. Okay. So active clients, how many transactions do you think you're going to do this year? You saw how many you did last year, and in a minute, we're going to have you put that down. But here, we're going to have you write it down. You know, maybe you did 15 transactions last year and you want to do 18 or 20, whatever your number is. I don't, you know, it's hard to tell what people's number is going to be. All right, so that's how many transactions that we are going to do. All right. So during the course of the transaction, our goal is to get 1 referral from each of those clients. All right. So we are going to put that same number in C, because each of our active clients, we're going to try and get a deal from. And I will tell you, our number 1 team in our Denver offices, it's a mother and son, and they have this game they play. And it is, they have to get 3 referrals from each buyer or seller before they close them. And they just, oh, and they are on each other. It's hysterical to listen to them. Well, how many you have so far? Well, how many you have so far? But it is key in their mind. And that is why they are so successful. All right. Is because they know it and they keep it top of mind all the time. So now what I want you to do is I want you to take the bottom number of each of those things. So it'd be 1D plus 2C plus 3D plus 4C plus 5C. All right, so that would be the total number of transactions, and I want you to put that in 6. Okay, when you have that number, what I want you to do is go back to, oopsie, I want you to go back to our business analysis, and your bottom number, if you can see on the bottom of this, it says agent net earnings. I want you to take that number, and what I want you to do is take your total number of listings sold, which in this example, 7, and our buyer sold, which is 4. So that would be 11 total. All right. And I want you to divide it into this agent net earnings, because what we are looking for is, on average, what do you make per transaction to you? All right. Your net number.
Katie, we have a question.
Yes.
It is, do you think we should include warm clients in the active clients number?
No, just people you're working with right now. Or you will be working with, you know what I mean? I wouldn't do it if, it's really the number of transactions you're going to do. Good question though. Thanks for asking. All right. So on number 7, I want you to put that average income per transaction, whatever that number is. In our example, it's $10,000. Then take that number times how many deals you're going to do this year, or I'm sorry, your potential transactions. So number 6 times number 7, and put that in the potential income line. So that's a pretty good number, isn't it? I mean, would y'all like to make that number? You know, and we've really underestimated, because everybody knows 4 and we're only assuming 1. So this is not impossible. And what I want to remind you of is so many people chase deals everywhere other than what's in your phone. Okay. This is just people that you know. All right. So pay attention to the people you already know, because they know you, like you, trust you. All right. All you got to do is get those people to do a transaction with you or to refer you. Okay. Don't go out chasing stuff every place else. All righty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to page 5 now that we know what's possible. And I want you to, instead of next 12 months, we're talking 2021 here. I want you to fill out the right portion of that page. So, you know, last time it was 8 listings. This year I'm going to try and do 10. All right. Maybe I'm going to try and up my average sales price. And these are the things that you really want to look at when you're doing your goals. What is your goal? I mean, do I want to up my average price range? If you do, then you're going to put a different number than, you know, you had last year. Do I want to do more listings as compared to buyers? Like, what do I want to do? Outgoing referrals are a good one. You know, you guys live in a resort community, so it's easy to send and receive outgoing referrals. All right. So take a minute and go all the way down that sheet and fill that in. I'll tell you one that's really interesting to do is, you know, see what your percentage was on your listing to sold ratio was, listings sold to the ones taken, or the number of listings you got, because this is a wake up call. I remember doing this for the first time, And I really stunk at listing consultations. I mean, I knew a ton of people and I would get up to bat a lot. And my percentage was 64%. And I was like, that is going to change. And I went and literally refined that to where my percentage was in the high 90s. I mean, if I wanted it, I got it. So you got to really be honest with yourself and say, okay, what am I doing well and what am I not doing well? And can I fix that? And is that what I'm going to work on this year? All right. I think the other piece of this is very interesting is what your average commission percentage is. And it's not what you put on a contract, it's what you actually end up with at the end. Because some people, some realtors feel like they're part of the transaction and a trouble starts to happen and they start throwing money at it, their commission money. That's another place you need to look at yourself and say, do I have the skills to make people understand that I am here to facilitate this? I am not part of it and I'm not throwing my money in because it's got nothing to do with me. All right. So again, just like really look at these numbers and say to yourself, what do I want to improve on? So does everybody have those numbers in? We get a thumbs up if you do. Need a little bit more time? Let me give you another minute or so, minute or two. All right, when we finish with that, what I'd like you to do is go to page 8 and 9. Like I want you to know, we are not going to ask you to turn in every single page of this business plan. The one you're just finishing, and page 8 and 9 are ones that we're going to turn in. This is really important for us for a couple of reasons. One, this is going to go to your manager, and they really are looking for what they can do to help you. All right. So they're going to review this so that they know, what your needs are, what you need help with. As a company, we look at all of the things that you turn in on page 5 to be able to budget for, how much staff we need, marketing dollars, all those kind of things. So it's important that we get those numbers. And then any kind of education that we need to provide, this is where we come up with the education schedule for the year. So be really honest here, just fill this out real quickly. It's page 8 and page 9.
And just a reminder, guys, when you fill this out, make sure to turn it into your managing broker, because you'll earn a point for the fourth quarter challenge.
So what do we win for the fourth quarter challenge?
Oh, there's all sorts of different prizes. This one goes towards the inner office prize set, which is local gift cards to different restaurants, auto detailing, and several other kind of things.
Nice.
Yeah.
May I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
By any chance, have we recorded either yesterday or today's classes? So if we wanted to go back and really hear what you said on certain topics again, we could?
Both are being recorded.
And, oh, cool. Thanks.
So yesterday, I think you were on yesterday's too, right, Yvette? Did you have to get off? So I sent that out to the managing brokers, and then this one will be also sent out to them to send to you guys, including the links to the YouTube videos that Katie shared with us.
Awesome. Thanks.
Can we share those videos with family members?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're all into sharing. All righty. If you haven't finished that, just make sure you finish it and get it turned in. I want to be respectful of your time here. But on page 24, if you want to flip over to that, This is just a net worth worksheet. It's super important that you keep track of what your net worth is. Our goal for you is that, you know, that increases every year. I'm fairly sure that's probably your goal for yourself. So this is a very simple form. You are not turning this in. This is not for anybody's eyeballs but yours, but it is something good to do every year. And in fact, this is what, you know, when we talk about doing the real estate review for our clients, it is because they're keeping track of their net worth, usually through a financial statement. And you'll see and hear that people need to know what the value of their home is. And so it's very helpful for us to be proactive and give them that every year so that they know they can fill out a correct amount on here. So on column A at the top, it's what do I own? So how much money do you have in the bank? And we're not going to fill this out right now. I just want to run you through it so you can do it. Your automobile, what is it? What's the value of that? If it is leased, that value is zero. Okay, that is not an asset of yours. Retirement plan, how much money do I have in my retirement plan? Insurance, there are two kinds of insurance. One is called whole life and one is called term. Whole life actually has a cash value to it. You pay into it and there is a cash value. You can borrow off of it, things like that. So if you have whole life, there will be a number you'll put in there. If you have regular term insurance that you just pay and the only time it pays is when you die, then you will not have a cash value. Then what is your home worth? If you have a second home or vacation home, what's the value of that? The next two are, you know, any kind of stock that you have, stock, bonds, things like that. Then any other properties. So if you have investment properties, you want the total amount of the value of your investment properties there. And then any other investments. You may have gold or some other type of a thing. And then you just add that up. So that's all of your assets. Then we're going to go to your liabilities. What do I owe? You're going to have current bills. You got money in the bank, but you know, there's bills coming due. What's that number? Any automobile loans that you have, your credit card balance. So if you're holding a balance on your credit card, any taxes that you owed, you know, we all have to save to do our quarterly taxes. So how much is that that's owed? How much is your total home loan, the balance of that? If you have a second home and you have a loan on that, what's that? Any lines of credit that you may have, only the amount that you have drawn off of them. So let's say that you have a $200,000 line of credit on your home. So if you ever needed it for anything, you've just got ready. You don't have to call the bank or whatever. If you've drawn nothing, that number is zero. Let's say you've borrowed $25,000 off of that, then that would be the number that goes in there. Then any other loans you have, any personal loans, property loans would be the ones for your actual investment properties. And then any other debts that you have, if you have any private debts, and you add that number up, your net worth is the difference between A and B. And so you just put what my current net worth is as of, you know, the date that you fill this out. And then, you know, the bottom, we have what am I working towards? You know, what do I want it to be? So again, this is just for you. No one's going to ask to see this, but we want you to keep track of it. Then let's talk a little bit about a daily schedule, because this is the number one most important thing in real estate to be successful, is you have to run your business like a business. Instead of being, you know, a little Pop-Tart realtor that every time somebody calls, you're working on their schedule, you have to run this like it is a business. All right. So you need to schedule out your day. And that goes from the first thing in the morning, from the minute you wake up, what do you do? Is that when you're doing your gratitudes, your affirmations? You know, maybe you go work out first and you come back and do it, whatever it is. But you need to schedule time to do that, because if you don't schedule time, it's not going to happen. All right. Then, you know, we have to set time aside to make our calls, because the only way we keep business coming in is making those calls and doing the things with our clients, you know, our follow-up calls with our current transactions. So block some time for that. All right. Any kind of meetings that you have, you know, your weekly meetings should be scheduled in there, all that kind of stuff. And then you should have, you know, and we usually suggest you keep the afternoon open for early evening, maybe for your listing consultations and showing property. We do know from tracking listings showings that 85% of showings happen in the afternoon. There are going to be days that's going to flip, but here's what I would tell you. You don't say, oh, well, I'm showing property, so all this goes away in the morning. What you have to do is you have to say, okay, I'm going to flip flop it and I'm going to do it in the afternoon. All right. So I would really encourage you when someone calls and says, hey, can you come over and talk to me about listing the house? And you say, you know, is today a good day? I have boom and boom available. All right. What would work for you? But you've already given them the parameters of what works in your schedule, rather than just saying, oh, when would you like me to come? Because I'm telling you, if you ask them, they're going to pick a time you have something else you're supposed to be doing. All right. So we really want you to look at that schedule so that you know that you are going to work on a schedule.
Instead of jumping out of bed and rushing right into the stress of what you need to do, breathe. Take a moment to eliminate the stress and realign your mind, body, and brain with the joy that does live inside you. You get to choose if your day is going to be like every other day or if it's going to be a great day. And you decide first thing in the morning by giving yourself that time to realign your brain to positivity, to redirect your mind to what is good in your life. What is good in your life right now? Take a moment to think about it.
Start your day with intention. Today, I will be present. Today, I will be kind. Today, I will be the example I expect of others. Today, I will give my all in every moment.
It's all about intention. When you direct your focus to the good, you will see more good. If your focus is directed to the stress and struggle, you will see more stress and struggle.
If you want to be really happy, give thanks. That's the secret. Happy people are grateful people. So spend time in gratitude. Spend time in intention and expectation for what a great day today is going to be. Feed your mind with something positive. Read or listen to something uplifting. Something that will grow your mind or spirit.
You attract your intentions. You attract your beliefs. You attract what you feel. So get up and feel good. When you direct your focus to the good, you will see more good. If your focus is directed to the stress and struggle, you will see more stress and struggle. That is your only job. Get up and get yourself feeling amazing. Ask yourself, how can I feel great today? How can I grow today? How can I make others feel great today? Open your eyes to the magic around you. I guarantee you, you have been missing out on miracles because you have been lost in the stress and noise inside your head. Get out of your head and get into the magic of life.
Today is a new day, a fresh, clean canvas. You can paint whatever you want on that canvas, no matter what happens. You are the artist. Add some color, some joy, some life to your canvas. Leave nothing off that canvas.
As soon as you get up in the morning, ask yourself, what's really important today? Is it important that I rush around stressed at everything I have to get done? Or can I just enjoy this moment? Can I set the tone for the rest of my day? You decide what kind of day you will have. Not what happens, but how you will respond to everything that happens. You can respond positively to any situation. Will you respond with presence? Will you see the good? Will you find a way around the obstacles? Will you write your own story, or will life write it for you?
All righty. So we actually also in here have, you know, a schedule for Saturday or Sunday, and I would encourage you to fill those out and try and make a plan of the way you're going to schedule your days. And then on page 13, this is just for you. This really is a checklist of all those things that you should have kind of organized and ready so that you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off when you get the call. So just, kind of go down that list and see, do I have all of these things ready to go? Because it's everything you need to run your business. All right. Then this page, you do not need to do anything with. This is what you're going to see each quarter when you sit down with your manager. They're going to take all the numbers that you give them and put them in. And we use those numbers to budget. So super important we get this as soon as possible. So they will sit down with you. They will have what, your numbers were supposed to be for that particular quarter. Just go through it with you. A little bit of accountability, which helps everybody to be able to achieve their goals. All right. And then, what we want you to do is either in your budget for your business expenses, maybe take a look at that once you now have your goals. Again, you're not turning this one in, but what you want to do is say, how much money am I going to spend this year? And try and really look at it before you get into the year. And then this will kind of be a guide to make sure that you're staying on track. All right. Then on page 28, we have a Ninja installation commitment. And what that is we became a Ninja company. We are the only Sotheby's company in the country that has this ability to do this, where we made a commitment to Ninja that we would, be a Ninja company. And so what we ask every single person that works for us is that they take an installation every 2 years. So this is basically agreeing to do that, that you will take it every 2 years. I do need to tell you that we printed these before Ninja let us know that they're changing their audit policy. There will be no audits from now on. So all of them will be at full boat and the price will be $950. But I have to say to you, $950 is not even close to a commission. And it really does, help your business. So we're asking you to sign that. Now, what I'd like you to do is take a pen and please just write down these numbers of these pages, because these are the only pages that I need you to turn in. So page 1 obviously is your cover sheet, because we want to know whose business plan it is. So we want 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 28. So just jot those down. And then make sure you get those filled out. This is the most important part, is getting those pages first and getting this turned in to your manager so they can do their planning. So does anybody have any questions? It was kind of a lot in a short period of time. All right. Well, guys, it was great to see. Oh, somebody's got a question. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That's what I was trying to do. What's our time frame for meeting with our managers? We need to do this by the end of the year.
Well, they're going to you're going to turn it in so that they can put it on, but that the meetings, and they may want to go over this. Do you know what's going to happen with you guys?
I'm happy to jump in here, Katie. Thank you very much. Good question, Carrie. I'd love for you guys to get this into me in the next week or so. And then I'd like to try to complete everything by the first week of December. I know that's a lot.
Will they meet with you?
To meet with me. So that gives you a few weeks to get, you did a lot of it today. There's probably some more that you need to add to it and think about it and sort of thing. And then I'll send a reminder for that. And then what I'm coming up with is like a calendar invite for you guys, so you can pick a time, some times that I have available for you. So, yep, before the end of the year, first week of December.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, so our meetings,
Oh, go ahead. What?
Are our meetings with Camille in November or December? The meetings.
Your choice.
Oh.
I have a setup for you guys, and I'm working on it right now. It's a calendar and the times I have available that you can just write yourself in, and it syncs up with both of our calendars. So a nice new piece of technology for us.
Anybody else? All right, guys, we'll make it a great 2021.
Thanks,
and I'm
Katie.
sure we'll see you. If you have any
so
questions,
much,
you can always
Katie.
contact me. You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great weekend.